Hey guys, I'm Quinn Anderson. I am a student here at the University of Tampa. I'm studying entrepreneurship and marketing as well as minoring in leadership.
And so the one main question is just, what is a situation in your life that has shifted your perspective on how you view life? It can be a small story that led to something bigger, a big story, whatever it is meant for you.
So when I was a kid, about like 12, 13 years old, one of the things my parents used to do every summer is give us very unique experiences. I'd say I'm really blessed compared to other kids. Some of the things I used to go to camps all the time. I could try anything I wanted to, be it sports, extracurriculars, and stuff like that during the summer. But sometimes my parents would push us outside of our comfort zone. So two of those occasions were one time I was on a sailboat for a week, and the other time was when I went canyoning, well actually spelunking, which is canyoning with water for a week.
Wow.
So basically we drove up to Maryland. I got in a van that fit like, it should have fit like 6 people, but 12 people were inside of it. So everyone was like super crunched up and couldn't really fit. And we drove from Maryland down to Georgia and some of the states bordering Georgia to go canyoning, go to different caves, and all this protective gear, helmets, full body suits to make sure we're safe as well as stay warm inside the cold temperatures of the water. But one specific cave was, I don't remember the exact name, but basically you'd walk up and there would be a giant hole in the ground and you couldn't even see the bottom.
Jeez.
So for me, when I saw that, I was kind of like, wow, that's crazy. And that's kind of like all I thought about at first. But then kind of as people started to go down and we started to like set up ropes before people went down, I was kind of getting anxious and nervous. People went down one by one, and slowly I became more and more lonely in a way at the top of this cave, and ended up being just me and one of our instructor, Fred. And when that happened, basically I was like, I don't want to do it. I decided that I was like too scared to do it. I was like, I have no idea what's going down there. And it was actually a rappel of 400 feet. This was not a small drop. Yeah. This was a big drop. So for me, I was just like, no, like it was hard for me to convince myself to go down into something where I really didn't know what was at the bottom. Like I couldn't even see like my teammates in a way at the bottom of this cave. So I ended up opting out. Everyone went down without me, and as I was walking back, after we were all walking back, after we packed up the equipment and everything, I realized that I'd made a mistake, and I really regretted not being able to go down. And I promised myself as we were pulling out of the parking lot we were in that I'm never gonna have any more regrets in my life. So my idea was kind of like no regrets ever again. And the reason that changed my perspective so much is time and time again after that, there'd be situations like that where I'm like kind of like, I don't know if I want to do it. But because of that one situation, I was like, no, like I can't live my life having this regret. And it's forced me to do different things.
Yeah, it's most people, they regret the things that they didn't do rather than the things that they did do, you know?
Yeah.
What kind of, if you could like apply that situation, because you said situations have happened, like
Yeah.
What's like one specific one that you were like, I'm just going to do it because I don't want to regret not doing it?
This is just one that comes to mind. It is very similar, but there's a whole different aspect to it. I was in Mexico on a mission trip. So me and my family, because we're in the veterinary business, we do medical mission. So we went down there and we do 4 days of work, 3 days of excursion. On one of our 3 days of excursion, we rappelled off a cliff, which is known as, I think it was known as the Golden Devils, the Golden Devil Mountain or something like that. And we walked up there. This thing was tall. And it was also very sketch. Like we had not done this through like a real company. We did it through like some locals that one of our friends knew from there. One of our friends was from Mexico. So it wasn't like a company, like we didn't really sign anything.
Yeah.
Basically, we walked up there with some ropes and some rappelling equipment. And the reason I thought it was important, even though this is a similar situation, to bring it up is during that time, I had been focused on this guy named Wim Hof. And Wim Hof is all about convincing yourself as well as your body that you can do more than you think you can. Like, you can do more than you think you're capable of. And when I was up there, I got to the ledge, about to be rappelled off, and I couldn't like take that step. And we were actually going to see Wim in about 2 months from now.
Yeah.
So that was like key, because I was like, if I'm not gonna be able to do this now, then I'm not gonna be able to do this when I'm with Wim. So it was kind of like the idea of no regrets. Like, I can't regret this now, because then I'll be thinking about that in the future. And it was kind of like back to the original situation. It's just like forcing myself to adapt as a person and keep seeking discomfort, getting outside my comfort zone, and with that, learning through the process.
Yeah. So how did it feel when you did it? During it and after?
During it was kind of crazy. It was it kind of just felt crazy. Like, wow, like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
Like,
Were you scared while you were doing it?
It's just like super adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people get on roller coasters. It's just kind of like doesn't feel real at the time. But then, like, once you get to the bottom, you're like, wow, that was so easy. Like, I don't know why I was like,
Exactly.
I don't know what I was so worried about. And there's also a sense of accomplishment that I get after I do things like that, where I'm like, wow, I did it. Even though in my head it was so hard for me to mentally kind of do.
Yeah, for sure.
In a sense.
I think that just ties back into life in general. It's like some of the things are way worse in your head. Like, as you said, you had fun after. No, it's like you're scared. You're very scared to do something. Let's say it's supposed to be like tomorrow. Like, you're going to bed. Like, you're so scared about it. You're so scared of the situation. Like, your heart's racing, whatever. And like the day comes, you're still scared, whatever. And then like you do the action. If it's like skydiving or a roller coaster, like you're having fun. Like, you're like, okay, not bad. And then after, like, you're like, let's do it again. Like, so it's just really just. It's not even the actual action. It's just like that mental toughness and that strength that it takes to just like go out and like do it. So like, what is it in life that just kind of like pushes you to just do that one thing that you know is good for you, but you're scared to do it?
It's funny, like, as we're having this conversation, I'm just seeing like situation after situation pop up, and I think what usually happens is it's something that in my brain I don't think I can do. Another example is doing a front flip. That's something that I always wanted to do, but like never did it. And then one day I find myself with my friends at a pool, everyone's doing front flips and they're trying to teach me how. And I feel like all of these situations somehow ends up in everyone staring at me, kind of like, do it. And then like, I'm like, now I gotta do it. But also in my head at the same time, I'm like, I've been standing here for so long, being at the ledge of a cliff, about to do a front flip, and other things. Like, I'm about to do it. And I'm just like, I've been here too long. I can't leave unless I do it.
Yeah, just getting out of your comfort zone in general is just so important. So, I mean, your story is very, again, like, it doesn't need to be something like so like sad and everything. Like, it's your story, you know, that not little situation, but how it's impacted you now, impacting your actions now and helping other people out. So, what would you say to someone that's watching this that is kind of like debating like starting a business or debating going on a trip, or kind of like in between that they know it's good for them but they're kind of just need to get outside of their comfort zone? Like, what piece of advice would you give to someone?
Well, I have a couple different quotes. Serafina loves quotes.
I
do too.
I have a whole album.
This isn't really a quote, but the most growth you can have in life is outside of your comfort zone. So it's just everything else is kind of normal to you. So Joe Dispenza goes down into this. An action as simple as waking up on the opposite side of the bed you usually do will start reworking the wire and start rewiring your brain. So it's very important to continue to act differently from day to day. But also another quote is from my boy Paul. You know Paul.
Oh yeah.
Paul told me one day, we were just
one
walking back.
Friends.
Yeah, one of my friends. And he was like, everyone knows the saying, you only live once. He said, you only die once. You live every day. And I was like,
I actually remember.
And I was like, damn. I just like, I literally like stood
Mic
there
drop.
for a second. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's insane to think about. Because he's right. You do only die once. You live every day. And I feel like that quote has more meaning to me, at least, than the you only live once. Because that one's kind of like thinking about, to me at least, I perceive it as getting the most out of every single day. Like, what if you treated, not that it's good to treat every day like it's your last, but how much more would you try to get out of each and every day if you did treat it like it was one of your last?
Yeah.
Like, how much more would you do? What would you be doing on your last days?
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting to think about how people would, dedicate their time when, everything's not like forever, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.